This is the Wingard Wearables Backripper Tomahawk. Wingard Wearables. Wearables, what does that mean? First of all, Wingard comes from the last name of the proprietor, Zach Wingard. Zach and his wife run the company, Wingard Wearables. What does wearables refer to? Well, they make weapons. Weapons that are inspired by historical weapons and periods in history, but meant for modern day. And for modern day, you have to wear it on your body, and it has to be discreet. So the wearables part comes from the fact that everything they produce is ergonomic. And look at the back spike on this tomahawk. It's curved, so it can curve to form your to your waist, so you can carry this in the waistband. All of his products, all of Wingard Wearables products have that feature, and not only does it make it easier to carry discreetly, but it adds to the weapon utility of each item. So this Backripper Tomahawk is Wingard Wearables' signature product. They have a number of different products. I have two others, which I'll show in a minute, but this is the one that really, this is the one that made Wingard. This is the tomahawk that Zach carries on his person all the time. This model, obviously not this particular one. And it is a weapon. It is not what you think of when you think of an axe. You could do some small cutting chores with it in the camp and such. But this is not a breaching tool. This is not a wood splitting axe. This is a fighting tomahawk. And being a fighting tomahawk, it is really light and really fast. Fast meaning when you swing it, you can recover it back to a loaded position very, very quickly because it's light. It's very light. So just by way of contrast, this is a camp axe. This was a gift from a great friend of mine who's an axe junkie, and I've never used it. I don't plan on it, even though this is a really, really excellent axe. This is something you split wood with at the campsite, and it weighs about 4 times what this weighs. This weighs about 8 ounces, I think. Or no. It's a lot less. This is astoundingly light, and damn it, I don't have my scale around. But this, as you can tell from the big giant wedge blade, is a much heftier axe. So it's not one of these. So this has a chopping edge here, and part of the lightness is in the small and slender shape of the head. That chopping blade is about 1.5 inches long. And then from stem to stern here, it's about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 inches, including that curve. And this curve here, this is a spike. It's not an impact spike meant to penetrate. This is a hooked and sharpened on the bottom part, sort of a meat hook. This is for trapping and gouging and pulling and manipulating your opponent. Also just straight up cutting your opponent, assuming that there's an opponent involved. That's kind of the primary purpose of this fighting tomahawk. Though, as Zach tells it, a lot of people use these for gardening, for light gardening chores. You can grab and pull and cut vegetation with this, and you can chop down small shoots and such with this side. But let's face it, that's not why I got it. I do not have much of a green thumb. That's a W for Wingard. I do not have much of a green thumb, and I got this to be included in my collection of cool weaponry and implements of chaos, as I call them, the ones that aren't straight up knives. So this is forged W1 tool steel. This is forged by one of, I think it's 3 different bladesmiths he uses throughout Pennsylvania. Zach, if you're watching this, you can make a correction in the comments, but these are forged out by hand, and then when they get to Zach, he makes these hickory handles. And man, these handles are great. He cuts them down with a draw knife, and then he file brands them. He gets a file real hot and brands it, and it not only looks cool, but it adds gription, you know. And he's got two versions of this and his other tomahawk, the Empress. This is the full size. What is this? 16 inches. 16 inches. And then he's got one that is, I think, 12 or 13 inches, and it doesn't have this, what do you call it? This widening down at the bottom of the handle. That widening is obviously there for added grip, so your hand doesn't slip off. On the shorter versions, it's optimized for molly carry, so it comes down straight, and then at the tail end, it sort of comes to a little wedge shape, so you can slide it into your molly webbing very easily. So note how thin and, well, you can't note how light it is because you're not holding it right now, but this is a very thin, light handle. You know, you can add a lot of weight just through the handle. And seeing as this is sort of modeled after what they were going for in the tomahawks used in the Northeast Woodland days of the Iroquois Indians, light, fast for chopping and such, and then if you throw it and if it breaks, you just take the head, you put a new haft on it, and you're good to go. So these are not meant to be indestructible, though this hickory wood is incredibly stout. And he makes sure to orient the grain in the right direction to optimize the strength. And so you get best of both worlds, a really strong haft. I keep saying haft, is that the right word? A really strong handle here. That's also extremely light due to how he has shaped it and cut it down, less than an inch wide here. An interesting and notable feature is how the axe head, the tomahawk head, is hung on the handle. It's called hanging. When you attach an axe head to an axe handle, it's called hanging, which is kind of a cool little thing to know. Instead of being friction fit, like a lot of modern day sort of less expensive mass-produced tomahawks, where you take where the handle widens towards the top, and you put the axe head down through the bottom until it reaches its maximum capacity up here and fits on by friction and maybe a screw or something. This is wider here, so this cannot come down on the shaft, and it's wedged in here. You can see that wedge. It's a cross wedge. It's wedged in here with the very same hickory that the handle is made from. Here, I'll point this out. There you go. There's the main wedge, and then there's a little cross wedge you can see. And when you do that, all the same wood from the same batch of hickory, as it contracts and expands due to weather and pressure and such, it does it at the same rate, as opposed to a metal wedge or a wedge of a different kind of wood that will expand and contract at different rates, and then you'll get wobble and an odd fit. This also has a silicone epoxy in there, really lodging it on there. As Zach says, this is not meant for throwing, though you could throw it and make it stick. I certainly will not. This is kind of a things go bump in the night item for me. Not so into trying to throw this and make it stick. It comes with a really cool, like the other tomahawk, which I'm going to show off. It comes with a really cool carry system. I called it Wingard Wearables. It's meant to be worn on your person, down in your pants, or just hanging by your side. So it has this really great Kydex carry system where the front blade goes in there, the hook, the meat hook, if you will. Whoops. slides in there. And then these alligator clips clip onto your belt or your waistline, and then you just pull it out. Hard to do under the camera, and actually I find it easier to do with the Empress, the other tomahawk, which I'll show you in a minute. But this really saves your bacon. You know, you don't want to just stick this in your belt with this sharp edge and this sharp point and this sharp edge here. So it really goes great in this. And I have seen people use paracord to make a sort of shoulder holster, and then this hangs below your arm. And there's one gentleman, he goes by Point of Archery on Instagram, who has made a beautiful leather shoulder holster, shoulder rig for his Empress Tomahawk. Okay, I keep mentioning the Empress Tomahawk. That was the first Wingard Wearables item I got. I'll show it to you now. Also very light, but a little bit heavier than this, is the Empress Tomahawk. Also with a beautiful hickory handle, also wedged. This one is shark themed. You can see the sort of gills there that add for grip. And down here you have a nice pain compliance device, pain compliance pommel, you might call it. And then the axe head here is cast silicon bronze. You know, if it was good enough for Odysseus, it's good enough for us, right? Bronze. You can, this is shaped like a megalodon tooth. It's sharp, the edge is sharp down here, sort of rounded here, and it penetrates like crazy, whatever you want it to penetrate. Now this is their version. There's the Wingard maker's mark. This is Wingard's version of the Spontoon Hawk, but also with a spike or hook. Also, this bottom edge is sharp, also meant for manipulating, hooking, dragging, gouging, trapping. This is my bedside tomahawk, because who doesn't have a bedside tomahawk? These are both the full versions. They do an Empress version of this, which is shorter, and then not an Empress version. Forgive me. A Mali compatible version of this Empress, and a Mali compatible version of the Backripper, and they're meant to slip down under the webbing of your Mali gear, so you can just kind of have this on you at all times. So there it is with that. Let me show it off with the, this is compared with the Hogue EX, T1, I think it's called. Very, very sharp blade on this. I mean, this is an awesome tomahawk. This is Alan Elishewitz design. This is full tang metal. The metal comes all the way down here. So this is much heavier than both of these, and more of a breaching axe, more of a, I mean, it's very weapony for sure, with this very, very sharp and acute edge, and the beard here, which you can hook and trap with, and this point here, which you can stab with, and the unique carry system. But, you know, and it being short, you could recover this and use this really quickly too, but just a bit heavier than these Wingard axes. Here, let me get this one out of the way, because this is a Backripper video. So there it is with the Hogue Tomahawk. Here it is with a cold steel. Now I actually have a spiked tomahawk on the way from Cold Steel. I want to try out some of the mods I saw Zach feature in a recent video, but here it is with a Norse Hawk by Cold Steel. Weighs about a ton by comparison. This is that friction fit. You can see the haft widens at the top, and you just slide the axe head on here, but then you have to screw it on. Where is that? You have to tighten that screw, and it's always a little bit loose. I think I'm going to pour some epoxy in there. I have it with a paracord wrap, and I stained it. See if we can get these both in frame. So bigger, bulkier, definitely heavier, and less easy to recover in a swing. And now here it is with one of my absolute favorites here. This is the an Elmer Roosh hand-forged spiked tomahawk, also in the spirit of the Northeastern Woodland Indians. This also has a hickory handle, a bit longer, but also for its size feels just very light. And Elmer Roosh is a master of forging and a master of making hammers and axes, and he also does that wedging and hangs the blade the same way. Just a nasty, nasty bit of kit there. All right, everybody. Thanks for checking out this video. Go check out Wingard Wearables on Instagram. He's got a lot of great videos also and pictures, and he features a lot of customer pictures too. And then also go watch his videos on YouTube. He's got a number of videos there, and he tells great stories and really goes deep in explaining the tomahawks, the weapons, the different things. Oh, before I forget, there's one last item of theirs that I have, and that's the Quill. I love this thing. It is forged steel, and it's designed by his wife, meant to be an item that you could hook on the back of your ear, which you could, and then use in self-defense situations. You can use it like a push dagger. You can use it, this is my favorite way to hold it, like a hammer fist, because you can hammer fist with it and go caveman, and you can also use it as a knuck up front if you wanted to punch straight with that. You can use it in a sort of sideways haymaker. And then I'm going to make a video cataloging all the different ways you can use it. Staple remover, bottle opener, etc., etc., etc. So it's just a cool little piece. I also like it as a worry stone. I have this thing in my pocket constantly. And when it's inappropriate to pull out a knife and flick it, I pull out my Quill and fondle it, which is probably inappropriate also. So go check out Wingard Wearables, and these are small batch items. So get on a list, get on his mailing list and such, and you'll always know when new batches are in the works and available. All right, thanks for watching.